Good morning. It's Wednesday, September 17th, and it's starting to drizzle out. It's going to rain today, but I wanted to get a few things done. I have a friend that let me go on his mother's property. His mother passed away, and I took a piece of wood out for him, and I shaped it into a bow, and I asked him if it was okay if I, fire hardened it and put the horn tips on. So I cut and shaped the horn tips for the bow today. And I trimmed out a piece of yellow birch for another friend that we got to shape and tiller and fire harden. And this is a piece of yellow birch that is so twisted. I would have cut it up for firewood. But once again, I decided to try and make a bow out of it. So even though it's got this really crazy twist, look at the twist. I don't know if you can see that crazy twist on the end. So what I was thinking of, they say when you want to make recurves or steam recurves, you need a perfect piece of wood, right? Perfect piece of wood, because otherwise you're gonna have twist and nothing but problems. Well, I'm thinking of, because it's so badly twisted, I'm gonna steam half of this in the future, half at a time, and get it so soft that I could put it on a mild recurve jig. This way it'll straighten it out and bend it. I'm going to make it a little thinner. I got it floor tilled, and it needs more work. It's not really quite floor tilled enough for that. But I trimmed it today, and I'm going to see how much I could take it down to get it floor tilled before it really starts raining. All right. Here's the fire hardened hickory from my friend's mother's property. Here's the buffalo horn tips I shaped. Let's turn it around. I have A marked with A, and they fit like a glove. They fit like a glove. So tonight they're going to be glued on with AE40, and then all that'll be left is I'm going to let him come over and tiller it and shape the handle with me and sand it. And this is the yellow birch that I just trimmed out a little bit for my friend Chris. He came off of his property upstate, the yellow birch did. And this bow is going to be tilled. He's going to have to till this and shape it and sand it. But I got it rough cut. I just wanted it rough cut. So we have it halfway started. I do have it bending a little bit. I do have it taken down enough to bend it a little bit. And I'll let him judge when he comes over. Don't mind my messy garage, but today's the day we're going to steam this. I'm going to steam this for a long time. It's really twisted out of whack. Let me see if you can see how bad it is from this angle here. It goes and twists. So I have enough holes in this jig where I'm hoping I'll straighten it out. It's going to get cooked like as if I'm taking the cambium off for an hour and 15 minutes. I know it's long, but it's so twisted, and it'll be under so much stress untwisting it, with the steam. I'm going to really cook it a little extra. Over here I have my Wagner steamer going with my little tube. That's a drainage tube. It's ready to go in. You can hear it rumbling. And when you put the Wagner steamer on, you'll say, oh, the thing's not working. Well, that isn't the case. The case is it takes a good 15 minutes for it to heat up and start working. So don't assume I don't hear anything, so it's not working. Give it 15 minutes and you'll start hearing it cook. Okay, I'm going to set my timer on the iPhone that's recording this now, and we're going to come back and bend it. And when I bend it, I have one of these cheap Harbor Freight rulers that keeps the belly of the bow from splintering. When I bend it with this. This is a cheap flexible rule. I'll clamp it. I have all the clamps pretty much preset. I just got to turn them down a little fast, and work quickly. And the other thing I wanted to discuss with you is, real quick, and I'm going to just pause it here because I want to get the a cover to show you what I'm talking about. Whatever radius recurve you use, this is what I learned on my own. I found out was that if you take a quarter of that radius and you bend that recurve limb to that quarter radius, okay, a quarter of this, you're putting so much stress. If you compare that bend to a super curve, it looks like a super curve, and we're dealing with a primitive bow with a hunk of wood. So, regardless of the radius, I have a 5.5-inch radius, okay, 11-inch diameter, but I'm not going down a quarter. I'm only going down a little more than an eighth, okay, and I'll show you the bend. I'll show you what I mean. So this way, and it's less stress on the wood as you're tillering it, the point between where the recurve starts and the fade out, there's less stress, and it produces a fast bow. Okay, it's not overstressing. There's always a give or take. Sometimes there's a little too much, you know, and sometimes a little less is better. And then I believe a little less is better. Let me explain. Let me show you the jig. I hope this would be a decent example, but we stopped it here. And it actually, if we went down that whole quarter of the circle, it would be down here. So from here, we didn't do a quarter a piece of pie, we went less. Okay, so that's all. I just wanted to show you that this is what I'm doing, and it seems to work out well, that we're not going down and putting a super curve in it. We're just putting that bend in there, okay? So it's starting to drizzle, and we're just waiting for that to get done cooking. And don't think that the time is too excessive. It is, but I want to make sure the riser is soft enough where if I got to torque it a little bit and clamp it, it'll torque, okay? So, well, as soon as it starts steaming, the other important thing that you need is pot holders. I bought my wife new pot holders so I can have the old ones for steaming bows, okay? Sometimes in life, the road is a little bumpy. And whenever I'm bending recurves or doing stuff like this, sometimes there's always a little monkey wrench that gets thrown in the way. But the time is up now. I'm going to grab it, and we're going to start tightening it up and see if we could take that crazy wild twist out. Okay? So here we go. Here goes nothing. Tight. See the angle over here? I'm trying to straighten it out as I go. I'll put a little pressure on here. Okay, got a little bit more on this side than that side, so that's where I'm trying to follow that pattern. Tighten this one good because by the riser. We got to move it over a little bit. Now, let me look at this riser. This is why I got this, steamed it so much. I want to look at the riser. And the riser does have a little torque to it. I'm going to tighten this here. And tighten this here. Hopefully it isn't too. And we're going to hold it just like this here. Now we have one more time, one more chance to straighten this a little better. And that will be when I do the other side. Okay, so I hope you caught that. And this really is a crazy big twist. And I think that extra time, it wound up being 1 hour and 10 minutes when I took it out. 1 hour and 10 minutes. You know. And then hopefully the hopefully this took out the majority of the twist, all right? And then the other side will be nice and easy. Of course, this isn't a perfect fix. All right, we're going to have to play with heat next, you know. Maybe not today, I'll leave it, but we're going to have to heat it up and torque the limbs with heat. But how to steam it, you saw how crazy it was. The twist is absolutely out of control. So hopefully these clamps are tight enough here. And hopefully what I'm going to do is once it takes its set, I'm going to leave it for a while. Got nothing to do. It's raining out. I'm going to let it sit up like this for a little bit. I'll stop the video. And at some point, I'm going to take the ruler off that kept the fibers together. And I'm going to use a heat gun to make it retain that set. And I'll realign it and reheat it at that point. So I'm going to remove these clamps and the ruler and then show you what we got. It still has some twist and alignment issues. And if you look at this end's straight. Look at the tip. Okay, now look at the tip on this end. I made it a lot wider because I knew once I straightened it, we may have to taper it in or out one way or the other to correct it. So as I'm looking down it now, it's still twisted. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to put it back on this jig a little at a time and heat it up and see if I could straighten it out with the heat gun. Unlike when you steam it and you clamp it as quickly as you can and torque it down, with the heat, I go like 1 inch above and I got to finesse it. You don't want to force anything. Okay, I want to heat it up, get it to comply. And I'm going to go 1 clamp at a time to try and align it the way I want. And you can see there's a twist here, and if you look down it, it's a twist off to the side. So it helped, but we got a lot to do. So I'm going to stop it here, and that's what I'm going to do. Heat it up 1 clamp at a time. See what happens. Okay, we're working at it a section at a time, a clamp at a time. And if the clamp wants to turn a little bit, it's okay. If it don't, it don't. And we're just going to stay here and heat this up. This is going to be heated for about 10 minutes. You may have to heat it again. But that's the process. I just want to show you the process. I removed that strap, which was the Harbor Freight cheap yardstick. And I got to give you a little tip here. Look at how the numbers disappeared on this. Do not bend it with the numbers down against the hot board, because the numbers will come off and you'll have numbers stuck on the belly of the bow. The part that faces your belly, you'll have numbers there. And it's okay. You know, when I tiller it, it comes right off when you tiller it, because you got to remove material when you tiller it. But anyway, a little at a time with the heat, tightening these up without that strap on there. And I got it flush again. And do I expect spring back? Yes, I do. But I have a backset jig that I made with the same 5.5-inch radius that we can clamp this to with heat again, like tomorrow. You know, what I'll do is steam the other end, get it like that, heat it, and then I'm going to let it rest for a day and maybe even hydrate it. Maybe I'll even wet it, put moisture back in. Then we'll get that fire hardening recurve jig, and we'll heat it up again to get it, try and get it to conform to that jig for alignment. And I believe once we fire harden it and actually cook it, it will cook to that jig and be a lot straighter than it is, okay? And why not? It's a rainy day, there's nothing else to do, and I'm going to plug in the steamer, and we're going to steam this other limb that has a big twist on the other side too, and we're going to flip it around and do the same process with that limb, you know, with the other limb here again. Not perfect, but not bad. The other limb is steaming now. Here we go with limb number 2, 50 minutes. Remember, keep the numbers up. Try to get this as lined as best I can. Crank it down. And here we go. Trying to get the left to right down as I'm going here, the best I can. Okay, this is where it's starting to twist out. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, it looks like this limb here has to go in a little bit. Let me just put a little bit of pressure on there. Okay, that's the best I could do for now. That's the best I could do for now. We're going to let it cool. That's just the catches on the clamps. The catch that goes click, click, that's the catch. That just made that noise. Okay. Like I said, it's fairly aligned. And what we got to do is, when this cools, we'll use the heat gun again. But it looks a little bowed towards me. Okay, a little bowed towards me. We'll have to straighten that out. Okay, recurves. I hate recurves, but it was so crazy twisted, I had to steam it drastically. And I figure, well, if I'm going to steam it drastically, I might as well try to put a curve in it. So we'll let it cool, and then we'll go through that heating process again with the heat gun. I think I finished just in time. It's raining pretty good out. And this is looking very good compared to what it was. I mean, I don't care how much little bit of work I have to do to tweak it. It's like night and day. I'm going to put it over where we can get a better look at it. Compared to how this was, I think this is pretty incredible looking. Did a good job. I must say so myself, and I guess I must say so myself. Okay, so let me show you the fire hardening jig. I don't think I'm going to put it on today because of the weather, but I'll show you the jig. So here's my adjustable recurve fire hardening jig. And basically you take these two support pieces of wood off, and now you can make it any length you want. And the curves are close to that 5.5-inch radius. You clamp the one piece this side on to the one side of the limb, and if there's a space, you put a shim underneath and clamp it. And then you do the same with the other limb. You take the other limb and put it on. If there's a space, you clamp it. And then this will be clamped onto the limbs. And then you reintroduce these support bars for however long it is. Right now it's for a longer recurve. Just better to show you sometimes. So here's the half of the jig that's not attached. It's attached to the limb. And you try to set it so it's even on both sides. Then here's the next piece, and it's attached. Okay, if there's a space, you could put a little shim there and clamp it. Okay, so there's nothing in the center now, so it's adjustable for any size recurve. And then what we're going to do is we're going to screw on the brace to make it steady. We're going to screw one on each side. So here's that crazy twisted yellow birch bow blank that I have straightened with steam and then again with heat. And now it's on my adjustable recurve fire hardening jig. And like I said, those little spaces on the end, you just put a little wedge in there and tighten it up. And that's it. We're gonna cook it for a couple hours and get it nice and fire hardened. So that's the end of this rainy day video on how to take a bow blank and straighten it out. Whether you recurve it or it's a long bow, straighten it out with steam, then use the heat gun to correct it one more time. And I wanted to show you that we made a recurve out of it. And I wanted to show you my fire hardening expandable jig that I made for a recurve. And I think it's going to turn out okay. Don't get me wrong, recurves are a pain in the neck. There's always a little tweaking, a little twisting, a little straightening, okay? But we accomplished a lot today on a rainy day. I was bored and now I'm tired, okay? So that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Every day you wake up is a great day. Do something. And some pieces of wood that you may want to throw out or cut up for firewood because they got too much of a twist, put them on the side. Maybe on a rainy day like today, you'll play and make a bow out of it. Thanks for watching.